A quick bill was exactly that, a quick bill where you're billing all of a client's unbilled WIP. With a detail bill, we're still choosing who we want to bill, what we want to bill, and what we want our invoice to say, but we have some other factors that might influence how we do the bill. What if you want to bill some of a client's unbilled WIP? Or maybe you want to bill only a specific employee's work for a client, but not all the other employees' work for that client. Or perhaps you want to mark up all the work Donna did because she's a superstar and does high quality work, but maybe you want to mark down Alex's work because he took longer than he usually does to complete the job. With detail bill, we can make all this happen. So I'm going to choose detail bill for my client, Leron Plastics Inc. So that's the who we want to bill. And let's take a look at what we see on the detail bill screen to decide what we want to bill. Up top, we get our breakdown of what we're including in this bill. So the hours, the amount, the markup or down, total invoice amount. You'll see this update as we start choosing what we're billing. Over here, we have our final bill and final bill at buttons. Final bill means you just want to bill this as you see it on the screen, where final bill at means you plan to apply a markup or a markdown. The unbill option means if you're going through the billing process and you need to unbill something, you can do that with this button. Then we have our invoice information, our code, our invoice number, our date and template, which can all be changed if you need to. Then we have our description field. You'll see this on all your billing screens, so your quick bill, detail bill, and progress bill screens. Overall, it's for in-house purposes and gives your staff an opportunity to explain what exactly went on with that odd invoice or special invoice situation. This enhances clarity in client communication in AR statements and offers flexibility for staff to add descriptions during billing or later, like on the invoices screen or in the client's inquiry under the AR or invoices tab. Under that, we have some fields that allow you to narrow down the information that you have here on the screen. You can see we have several employees working here. You might want to change this all to just the billed already or just the unbilled WIP. You might want to show just the ones you've marked up already or marked down, or all as I have it here. If you want to narrow this down by date range, you can put in a from and to date. Maybe you just want to see a specific employee's lines of WIP, or narrow it down by work code. If you use any of these and need to clear them, you can hit this button here to clear them. Then we have our check boxes over here that allow us to check which lines of WIP we're actually planning to bill here. You can see that they have not been billed already. This tells you if yes or no if they've been billed. You can see the employee who did the work, the date it was entered on, the work code used, the work code description, the time entry description, the hours it took on each of these tasks, the amount billed, any markup or markdown, and you can see these are all in WIP status. If you want to change the sort order of any of these, you can click on the heading up top. For example, you can see my employees are kind of mixed in. It's actually mixed in by the date I think that the work was completed. I like mine to show by employee in alphabetical order. So now I have Alex's work together, Ken's, and then Donna's in alphabetical by last name. So let's go ahead and create a detail bill. I mentioned a few scenarios earlier. The first was billing some of a client's unbilled WIP. To do that, so for example, let's say you only wanted to bill the December lines of WIP. You would just click on the ones you want to bill and then do final bill or final bill at if you wanted to do a markup or markdown. The second scenario was maybe you just want to bill one of the employees' work but not all the work for this client. So maybe you just wanted to do Alex Childs' work. You're just billing for what he's done for this client. Same thing, you would choose those lines of WIP and choose whether you're doing a final bill or final bill at. The third scenario is that you wanted to mark down Alex Childs' work because he took a little longer than he usually does and mark up Donna's work. So let's check Alex's work here. We're going to go ahead and mark that down as we mentioned. So we're going to come up here to our final bill at button and click on that. You can see we have the total WIP amount, leave unbilled. Leave unbilled allows you to leave a portion of the WIP lines unbilled to be able to include those on a different invoice. So you could type any amount in there if you wanted to, like whatever you want to leave unbilled, type it in there and it creates a new transaction with the amount that was left unbilled. Then we have our billable WIP, bill at, and our markup or markdown. the bill add and markup markdown fields are linked together. So we said we wanted to mark down Alex's work. So maybe instead of $320, let's just go ahead and bill this at $300, marking it down $20. And you can see that it shows it marked down $20 because they're linked together. And it works the other way around too. If I just typed in here -20, it would have brought this down to $300. We will click on the check mark to apply this. We could X out of it if we wanted to, but we're going to check on it to apply it. And if you look over here now, it says yes next to Alex Childs. And if I scroll over, you can see that the markdown of $20, that was done automatically, and it was distributed amongst all the lines of WIP, which was just those two for Alex Childs. The other part of the scenario was we wanted to mark up all of Donna's work because she's a superstar of the firm. So same thing as we did before, we're going to come down and select Donna's work. We're going to do a final bill at. Maybe this time we're going to mark it up $80, bringing it to a total of $1,400 for her work. So here under the markup, let's put $80. You can see again, they're linked together. I'm going to click the check mark. And then same thing, if you come over here, you can see it was distributed among those lines of WIP. And those all say yes. You can see we still have unbilled WIP though for Ken Morton. Let's say that's just regular. We're not going to do a markup or markdown for those. So let's just go ahead, click on those lines. So for those, since we're not doing a markup or markdown, we will just choose final bill. Now you can see that they're all marked as yes. If there were any mistakes here, we could unbill those lines of WIP using this button here. But everything here looks good. Now from here on out, if we continue on, it's the same as a quick bill. Let's go ahead and click the next button. We get our tax information. If there were any taxes, it would be put in here for us. Let's go ahead and confirm. Click next. And then we get to our wording for our invoice, our billing paragraph screen where we decide what we want to say on our invoice. And this again is the same as with the quick bill. This is where we choose the wording for our bill, and it's important to put something on here so our clients know what they're being billed for. And we have 4 options for doing this. You start out on the descriptions tab. Here you'll see all the lines of WIP you're billing them for. And then over here we have the options. If there's a work code description, you can bring that down if you like that wording. Or the descriptions here are actually the descriptions used on the time entry screen. So if you remember when you're entering time, you have the option to add a description in there. It's nice when you do that because it gives you an idea of what you might want to put on your invoice. So if you have something you want to say, any details about that work that was done that you know you want to be on the invoice, you want to put that in when you're entering time so that it will show up over here. So let's just say that I want to bring this one down. You can see it actually came down here as a description. I can actually click in here and add to it if I wanted to, change something that's in here. Let's move on to our second option, which is the library of paragraphs. The library of paragraphs are pre-written paragraphs you might be likely to use. So those are set up in advance over here under Tools. If you find where it says Library Paragraphs, you can set those up in advance. That way they show up here when you're doing an invoice. These are things you might want to say on your invoice. So if, for example, you like this one here, Preparation of Audited Financial Statements, you can click here to bring it down, and it shows up down here as wording for your paragraph. It's also cool that you can copy too. So maybe here you want to put a period, and on the same line you want to add this one right here. You can copy that, and then it copies it to the same line rather than bringing it down as its own. So we have the descriptions, we have our library of paragraphs, but you also might have something you've said on a past invoice and want to use that again. So past invoices has the wording from your past invoices. You can bring those down, you can copy them, and also the third option you have is to copy the amounts. The copy the amount button will copy that amount over here, and I'll get to amounts here in just a second. Or the fourth option is to click on the Add New button, and that will open up a fresh blank field for you to just type a description directly in here. I'm just going to say for the work I've done. Obviously that's not very descriptive, but just to give you an example of how you can actually type directly into here to create a paragraph. Now I can put in a specific amount for each of these if I want to break it down and show what they're being billed for each of those, or I can just leave them blank. If I do put in amounts, I just have to make sure they actually add up to the overall total, the chargeable amount. And this field here helps me a little bit with that because it tells you the amount remaining. So for example, if I just type in here $1,000, it brings it down $1,000 for me. So it's kind of like counting down, letting me know how much I have in there. So let's say this one was $810, and I still have $1,000 left. So I want to put $1,000 here. And that's brought down to 0 now. So you know that you've equaled out and you're okay. These arrows here just allow you to bring these up or down, like change the order of them. So if I want this one to be on the second line, I just click the plus sign, brings it up. Or if I wanted to bring it down, I can bring it down. X erases it completely, gets rid of that line, and the plus sign just adds a blank one below it. You're still given an option in here to change the template if you decide at the last second you want to do that. And our last step is to create the document. It's always a good idea to create the document so that it actually exists in the system, where you could download it and view it, actually see what the invoice looks like. So when I click on Create Document, I have the option to download a PDF to my computer, which obviously I wouldn't be able to make any changes to, or if I want to tweak it a little bit, change the fonts or the coloring on it, or put a logo or anything like that on it, I can download the Word version of it, make the changes on there, and then upload the file back to the system. And that file would stay in the system unless you come here and recreate the document, or over in the print send area, if you create in any case over there or recreate the document as one of the options over there, it would overwrite what you saved in here as well. So just keep that in mind. But once you've made all your decisions in here, you have all the wording, how you want it to look, you've previewed it, you can go ahead and click Save, and that will finish this up. And you have created your detail bill. And of course, to send your detail bill to your client, you can use the client portal over in the client properties, or come to our client portal tool area. Or if you're sending invoices out to a bunch of your clients, you can use the print send option, and there's videos in here that explain how to do that. And that's it for a detail bill. Thank you for watching.